Welcome everybody to the King Mexico podcast. And today we have an investigator, a journalist, bringing us some great information. Most people probably don't even know that this is currently happening in our land and it's not happening somewhere else. It's actually home. You know what I mean? Sitting home, this topic, and let them know who you are.
Well, first of all, thank you, King Mexico, for bringing me on here so we can talk. I know we're like on opposite ends of the country, but thanks to technology, we can connect at any time, just, spread knowledge and, educate the raza on pretty much, things that happen here in America. Because, just because something happens in New York or California, vice versa, it's eventually it hits everyone. It will be like a trickle effect, So again, thank you. My name is Eric Herrera. I'm from San Diego, California. I'm a photojournalist. So I mean, I'm not really I'm not a journalist where I go on camera and do news hits on Fox or anything like that. I'm the guy that takes photos. I'll do video of stuff as it's happening. That's just kind of more with what I'm comfortable with. Podcasts and stuff like this is cool with me, but when people have asked me in the past, like, oh, you want to go on live TV or something? I'm like, I don't know if I can do that. It's too much pressure.
I bet.
But yeah, I mean, I just was going around the South, California. Spent a lot of time last year in South Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley. And before I went to South Texas, I was kind of exploring what was happening. I already knew what was happening with the migrants and the caravans coming up. And I found out that in Tijuana, which is like 20, 30 minutes from where I'm at in San Diego, there was a migrant camp in Tijuana. Like literally, there's the pedestrian point of entry. And right on the other side of that fence, like you can see it. There's so many people there with tents just like inches practically touching each other that they had to close that port of entry because people can't even use the entry. So when I found out about that, I was like, okay, I'll go there. I have friends in TJ, in Tijuana, so they were able to take me there and accompany me, so I was there on my own. And I saw people from mostly Central America, then mostly Haitians after that. And I even heard that there was some people from Asia at that camp, but I never saw them. So I don't know if they were just out and about or something like that around the city. But that's just something that I learned while I was there, that there was people from other countries. I mean, across the ocean as well. And that was, I mean, being Latino, not just Mexican American or Mexican, but being Latino in America, that's something that's kind of you're even as a kid, a lot of kids are kind of conscious as to what, people that come up illegally, the struggle of an immigrant coming up with nothing to their name, sometimes no money or very little money, and just the clothes on their back. That's kind of something that Latinos from almost every age group are kind of they kind of know that's a thing, and it's something that's kind of attributed to what being Latino in America is. And so when I saw that stuff with my own eyes, just walking around this camp, was very filthy is one thing. I mean, you see the photos of people there and the drone footage, and that's one thing. But when you're actually at the camp and walking around, talking to people, and you see the kind of conditions that the prison is forced to live in, it's something else, man. I wouldn't wish that upon anyone, not even someone that I don't have any enemies, but you know what I mean, how the saying goes, something I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. But it's depressing, man. Just to put it bluntly, it's just to see men, women, especially kids, toddlers, just running around barefoot, living off of donations, people that can bring in food, clothes. And that's 20, 30 minutes from where I live.
That's wild, man. That's insane. So that's technically when they
insane, man.
When they get shot out from here and they just send them and they end up in the border, correct? because I've seen a lot of like little documentaries when they're talking about how they end up camping on the borderline, and it's like
Yeah.
nowhere to go because they have no family, they have no relatives. It's like their only hope was to get it. They made it this far up, right? And then to get sent back, now they're like stuck in the border. So they're like, yo, where do I go? I left everything I had to chase my dream.
Yeah, it's like they're like literally like in limbo. Like they're right at the finish line, but they're not allowed to cross the finish line. And I remember the last time I was there, I was talking to I think he was from Guatemala, this guy, and he was telling me towards the end of our conversation, uh, and it was awkward for me because I was just like, man, like I don't know why you're asking me this. Like I don't know what kind of answer you expect me to give you. He was just told me like, do you know when they're supposed to let us in? Because like some people at this camp have been there for like 6 to 9 months, sometimes up to a year. So like this guy, he thought I knew, that like there was like a date or something where they were gonna let people in.
Damn.
So like I told him, man, I don't know, like I don't know the answer to that question, man. Like I'm sorry, like I wish I could give you some sort of answer, but I'm here to talk to you to learn about you. But I don't have any information that pertaining to like when they're gonna start playing people in. So that was pretty. It was sad, because like he can kind of see like he thought just by the way he was looking at me and the way he like the tone of his voice was that he thought like I had some sort of
Information.
information, to relay to them. So and it's that sad, because I go there with the intent to just like let me see what's happening, let me take my photos, some videos, let me see what people tell me, and then like it's hard to not feel um it's hard to not have feelings, when like you see people that look like you and they speak Spanish and like it's kind of like this like I'm looking in the mirror in a way, because I'm first generation. My Both of my parents are from Mexico, and one of them came up here illegally. So I was like this close to being born on that side. So like if I were born over there, I probably would be at that camp or something trying to escape something. If I were living in some area of Mexico where people are just fleeing for their life, and it's just kind of like made me question a lot about just immigration in general. Whether people call it illegal immigration, like I call it, some people get kind of trip on me because I say I'm against illegal immigration,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm against illegal immigration because of that. You know what I mean? Like I get it. People want to like come up and pursue the American dream, and like provide a better future for their families and whatnot. But like I don't want people to go through what they're going over there just to hopefully, have a chance at like being granted amnesty or something like that. Like I don't think that's seeing it firsthand like that. Like that's not the answer to me. That's if anything that leads to more deaths, more abuse. Especially because these people are so vulnerable. They just and if they're not from Mexico, most of them come from Central America. So I mean, you're in Mexico, you're in another country already illegally,
Yeah.
and like so if you're Central American and you're in Mexico illegally, people will fuck with you. They'll rob you. If they want to kidnap you or your girl or your kids or something and put them in sex trade or traffic your kids or something, that's a reality. So when I try to elaborate that with people that are like it's more progressive, more open borders, I'm like, man, like I can't do that because I saw what happens when people entertain this idea of like let everyone in, no matter who, no matter what. So it's not because like I'm self-hating or how people say or you're just trying to be white or whatever. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like the reality is that people will die. People are dying. People are dying right now, being mistreated, turned into slaves because you know X person will say open the border up and let them all in, and then I answer, okay, well when they're here, then what do we do? What do they do?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you going to let them live at your house? Like, are you going to give them a job? Are you going to provide healthcare for them? Put their kids in school? Because I don't hear any answers outside of just like let everyone in.
I completely agree with you on that part, bro. I completely understand where you come from, and not to be on some, like you said, like sell out and shit. But at the end of the day, you know there's a pro and con to everything. And I tell people like you gotta revise that. Like when people are like, oh, let this ethnicity into the country, right?
Mhm.
Because last year, something, happened. They were letting a certain group come in, right? So I'm like, all right, so you're gonna let this group
Yeah.
in, right? But what happened to the other all these other folks that wanted to come in prior? So I used to be like, you got to see the bigger picture. It's like you have these folks now because something happened, you're gonna let them in. But these folks have been struggling for years, months on the other side to get here. And they're like literally steps in just to come in. And they're waiting. So because this group just happened to go through something, you're gonna let them in. So what does that say? You know what I mean? Your life is
Mhm.
not as important as this group. And
Yeah,
then
and
I'm
that's
like,
how people feel. That's how people are feeling, or even on our side, Americans, immigrants that came here illegally, they see that, even though they're against illegal immigration, they're like, wait a minute, why is this group, like you said, they're being, for lack of better words, they're giving special treatment over this other demographic, and that other group of people have been waiting there much longer. When they're
it's cutting off. But
the same thing, government corruption, um, or just their countries or whatever. It's just like, well, these people have been here for like over a year. These people came up 6 months ago. Why is this group getting prioritized over the other group now?
and on top of
And
that,
I saw some, like, again, like when I was in South Texas in the RGV.
mhm, it's cutting off. So we're just having some technical difficulties right now. The reception of the Wi-Fi is like in and out, guys. Just give us a second while we work this out. But yeah, just to touch more on what he was just touching by and stuff. We just all right. I think we're back on. It's a little technical difficulties, guys. Don't worry. But yeah, it just completely shut off right now, what you were just speaking about. And I was just telling everybody that these people also that were let in also got healthcare, they got housing, and they got an allowance. And
Yeah,
who was paying for this? Our tax dollars.
and it hits the working class American harder than like, I don't know, like some general manager for like a huge company or like a CEO. For them that's pocket. That's like not even pocket change. That's the lint in their pocket. For
Exactly.
us, this is like, you know now gas is like twice as much. Rent is a used car is like 40% more. We're the majority feels that they bear the blunt of that. So then we're like, like a working class family. They're just like, man, I'm struggling to put one kid through college, hopefully one. And like, again, it's fine. It's okay to have feelings and feel bad for people. Have empathy. Just being human. But there's got to be some give where you're like, this is just not fair.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I get it. People are suffering. They're coming up. They're fleeing. But then we're the ones that start suffering in our own country. Like they're getting free healthcare, housing, as you said,
That
a
allowance
bunch
ain't
of
bad.
other stuff. Yeah, the allowance. And when I was again, before I cut off, I was saying when I was in the Rio Grande, um, I saw people, man, in broad daylight cross the river. And that's like another one of those things that like we hear as kids. People coming over and or just hopping the border and all that. But when you see like a family like cross a river with like a back, with even kids, just wearing a backpack with whatever belongings they can fit in there, and they come to America, like that does something to you. That did something for me. I was just like, I just realized, like, wow, like I'm so lucky, so lucky to have been born, I guess by chance, here. Fortunately, like it's hard to see kids, you know, especially you see like I saw abandoned kids in Texas. And that was another trip, you know, where it's just like it gives me like a bad in my head I was just like there's something off about this. Cause it's just like why is there like groups of like 20, 15 abandoned kids coming up and you know, crossing the border on their own? Um why is it like a single mom and three kids, you know, and like the husband's back in El Salvador or Guatemala? You know what I mean? It's just like it gives me like a weird feeling where it's just like there's something else going on. Um and I remember I was there the first time at the border in Texas for like 9 days and came back home, and I went back in less than a month. I returned to the same area and I was there for 3 weeks straight. And I got a rental out there, and in my head I was like, or my plan was I want to be at the I want to be on location as much as I can. So that's why I got a rental and I parked it right next to the Rio Grande, like 100 feet away from it. So for like 4 days, I was sleeping in the car next to the river, kind of like Chris Farley. You know how he says sleeping in
Yeah.
the van down by the river. That's pretty much what I did. And so I was just like taking like 2 hour naps, 3 hour naps, and I would wake up and there would be like 15 people there, all wet
Dang.
after crossing the river. And the I was also parked like it's an area where it's called Del Rio. It's a border town out there, and in this location, there's a border patrol station there. So I was parked in the same area with border patrol, and one of those things that kind of gave me like a where I started to get kind of suspicious about this whole thing is when like the majority of people that come over, they don't run away from the border patrol. Like part of their, I guess, because they get coached in Mexico before they cross. They get told like, okay, you're gonna cross, and you're gonna see border patrol, but you have to go to the border patrol. They're gonna temporarily process you. They're gonna shuttle you to a facility, and you're gonna be there for like 3, 4 weeks. After that, they let you out. So like I saw people cross and like sometimes like 80 at a time, man. Like I'm not kidding you. It's like 80 people walking down the
Damn.
road, and they see the lights on the border patrol cars,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, okay, that's where we have to go. So they walk right to the border patrol agents, and then they sit down.
Wow.
They sit down and like they hand them over, I guess, whatever documentation they have with like whatever info they have on them, and then the shuttle comes. They load them into the shuttle and they get taken to facilities.
That's wild, B. And they
I
already
know,
know
right?
the
It's like
routine.
they already know. They already know that's part of the plan for them.
That is insane. Because I remember growing up, right? And you meet people who crossed over and now they're living here legally and stuff. So they would tell me like when they saw border patrol, they would run. They were not running towards them. They were running like really running. He's like, yo, if we got caught, we were getting sent back. He's like, you get
Yeah, that's
printed.
what I grew up with too. Like, you know, like don't let them catch you, don't let them see you. Just cross at nighttime or cross in this area
Yeah.
where there's like no one there. Like now it's just like, no, that's not the plan anymore. Now you have to go to them.
Wow. And it makes it easier. So now the person the coyote who's bringing them through is even easier because now you're automatically guaranteed that you're gonna make it into the States. That's
Yeah,
your
more or
automatic
less.
ticket.
Like there were that's the other thing, man. Like the whole thing right now is like I still try to wrap my head around it because it's there's this other part of Texas called Roma, and there's the port of entry there too. It's where the river is, the Rio Grande is over there too. And I was like 10 feet away from a coyote that would cross people by raft. So this guy would cross people like in an inflatable raft,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm standing like almost shoulder to shoulder with the National Guard and Border Patrol, and they just watch it happen. They watch it. They watch. Sometimes they help the people off the raft, and I see that I'm like, wait a minute, what? Like Your job is to, be border security, but you're not doing anything to stop this. You're just literally like bringing people off the raft, and then they escort them up to these shuttles, and they tell them what's your name, how old you are, yada yada yada, and then they get on the shuttles, and then they take them to the facilities.
And what, the
And
coyote goes back?
he just he goes back to the Mexican side of the river.
That
He
is
goes back.
insane.
He loads more people in. He comes right back over. And another thing I didn't know, so like on the river in that part of Texas, the river is the border. So, and technically, like the actual physical border is the midpoint of the river. So like there's a half of it is Mexico on the river, on the Rio Grande, and the other half is America. So when they come and smuggle people over, they're on the American side. And I saw like border patrol agents and all that, and in my head I'm like, why aren't you just grabbing this guy? Like, what's stopping you from grabbing this guy? And then what me and some of my boys, my colleagues that were out there, what we learned was that if they grab him and that the coyote, even though he's smuggling, trafficking people, bringing guns or drugs or whatever,
Yeah.
he can sue the government for kidnapping.
What?
Yeah.
I guess this is some type of new law that makes it easier for the coyote then.
They flat out told us, man, like we were talking to them. We were just asking them, how much they make, how long they work, and we asked them like, so like under the current administration, like is like your job easier or something? He was like, oh man, you guys are practically letting this happen because of your president. They were like saying like it's never been this easier before. Like we just do this like nonstop.
So yeah, it is. You see the regulations and the new laws and stuff that make it so much easier now. And just going by that is, I think, is a wave happening throughout the US, bro, when it comes down to like laws being a little bit more lenient. Crime has gone up. The whole movement from last year that defund the police has really taken a huge toll, especially in like big cities, big states like California, New York. No, I'll have to say New York and California have taken the cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we are on some real progressive crap right now, bro. Like New York, we had Blasio. He did an amazing job on making crime go up. Yo, we just had a Midtown car hijacking, bro, in New York today at Knife Point. Something you really never hear. This is more of a West Coast thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've been keeping like trying to keep tabs on what happens over on New York because like again, like you said, like New York and California, it's kind of like they're competing to see
Yeah.
who can be the shittiest state. And like I like it's just again, it's kind of crazy, like because I grew up with like hearing about how New York was, there was kind of rough in certain areas like that.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, like you said, there's just like I remember seeing footage, like security footage of like some like woman that was out for a walk, and this guy comes up from behind her and just like starts like yeah, groping her. Like
Mm-hmm.
he throws her to the floor and so like in broad daylight. And like I don't know if these guys just get like released also if they get caught or whatever, but
Oh,
it just kind of seems like nothing's happening to them.
oh no, right now, bro, they have something called dollar bail or free bail. So if you make under a certain amount or you're homeless and you're arrested in New York, it's like an honor system. You get your court date and you get released. So, and then the new Manhattan DA is passing a new like law or whatever you want to call it. So if you have a gun, you go and jack somebody or a store and you pull it out on them, right? And you get caught and arrested, you get released because they can't prosecute because the gun was not loaded.
Oh, gee. Yeah, but see, like they wouldn't know that if you were like on the other side of the gun, like you wouldn't know that.
And here's the thing. So this is, and then something else with the cops. So now the cops have to like make sure this person has a real gun. So there's no more, I guess, hands up or whatever. If this guy pulls the trigger, it's like Russian roulette now. Is it a real gun or not? Because if not, the officer could get in trouble. And also in New York, if a cop arrests you a certain way and you end up pressing charges to the NYPD, you could go after the officer as well now.
Man, that's insane.
So a lot of cops are like, why am I going to risk my life? And I understand where they're coming from. Like, I really understand like the concept. Like, why would you go above and beyond if you're going to you have a huge responsibility to keep yourself safe, keep your family safe. And now you have to be worried about getting sued. So
It's
it's
like
like,
not. It's not even worth it to be a police officer no more.
no, because it's like being a security guard, just with you just a security guard for the state. That's all you are.
That's fucking crazy, man.
Yo, it is
It's like in California, in LA County, there's a lot of that happening right now. Their DA is last name Gascon, I forget his first name, but he's kind of like doing the same thing where like you can get arrested for like robbing someone at gunpoint or something crazy, and they're not pressing charges or you get released like almost right away. And that documentary I helped on about the cartel, like the Palmdale and all those inland areas, it's like an hour and a half out of LA, out of the city of LA, still
Mhm.
LA County. So a lot of those laws apply out there, like in the inland areas. So like a lot of these cartel guys would, it's so many little things that like just build up. It's like a snowball, it just like keeps growing and growing and growing the further it goes down the mountain. So um I forget, there's a proposition of, I think it's a Prop 64, if I'm not mistaken, that made marijuana recreational in California.
Mhm.
And that's one thing. I'm for people, if they whatever they want to do with their own body, whatever, that's fine with me. The issue with that proposition was that out of all the states that made it recreational, California was the only one that made illegal cultivation. They dropped it down from a felony to a misdemeanor. So we went out to these illegal grow ups. It's all cartel, all of them. It's Mexican cartel mostly, uh, Chinese mafia, and Armenian criminal organizations out there. But it's mostly Mexican. So there was a bust they did last year that was like a 74-acre
Cool.
marijuana grow. 74 acres, and we saw some that were like 10 acres, 5 acres, and that's a lot of weed. And if they roll up on you and they arrest you, that's a misdemeanor. And you can have like an Amazon looking facility where you're just growing weed, and that's a misdemeanor.
That is
So a lot of
insane.
these guys, they get taken in, and I think it's like a $500 fine or something like that on the misdemeanor, and you're out same day.
And you're the cartel. What's $500?
I know, right?
Be
It's
like,
just like,
yo,
man,
you sure you don't want? Be like, you don't want 5,000 better here? I'm gonna give you 5,000. I'm gonna do this a couple of times. Like, take that right
okay,
there.
here's for the next 5 times.
Like, don't worry about it, man. Like, y'all want steak? Y'all want some wagyu? What y'all want to eat?
Or some marisco, some lobster.
Sure. Whatever the hell y'all want. Just bring it on. Next time y'all come, we'll have it prep. Y'all eat, then y'all sting me, and we do this again. Yeah, because I was seeing some of the things, and I hear that they're buying the houses from these people. So the residents of the community will end up leaving, and then they come and buy the house at top dollar.
Yeah, they'll pay like, I think it's like 20-30% above market rate. And sometimes they'll even like pay double. So, it's just like it's like, yeah, they're like cultivating marijuana illegally, but then they're fucking up the real estate market out there.
Mhm.
So a lot of those communities out there, it's just like older people, older white folks, retired, and now they're like surrounded by all of this. So a lot of people are leaving those areas. They're like, man, I don't want to fucking do this. I don't want to like have my grandkids over one day and then these guys roll up and just shoot up the house. Um, So like to an extent, I get it. Like your house is now worth, like, let's just say, like twice as much. That's cool, But I mean, that's like, what if you didn't want to leave? What if that was your like retirement plan?
Mm-hmm.
I want to be near LA, but I don't want to live in LA. I want to have a nice plot of land where I can do whatever I want, and like there isn't so much like government like regulation and oversight or whatever. But now these people are selling their homes and heading out to like Texas, Florida,
Yeah,
anywhere outside of California.
and it's wild.
They're just taking the money and running.
Yeah, the flow from California, like people migrating out, is ridiculous, bro. It is insane. Like me personally, like if I could move out of New York, I would, but because of my employment, I can't move out, so I need to reside here. But if it wasn't for that, bro, I would have been leaving too. I would have probably left to Texas as well. I was planning to leave Texas 5 years ago, before like everybody and their mother wanted to go to Texas, and now it seems like Texas is it. You know what I mean? And like Joe Rogan said, when you come to Texas, don't bring that liberal or that politic bullshit here. This is why Texas is loved. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why Texas is Texas. Because Texas has its own
It's
way of
always
life,
been,
its own culture.
it's always been like that growing up. I remember growing up, it's like, oh yeah, it's a concealed state, like you could carry. And now it's legit, literally anybody in Texas could carry.
Hmm.
What more do you want? And this is another thing. New York and LA, gun laws is ridiculous. And no, I believe that every American should be able to conceal. I'm pretty sure crime will be lower because you would think about it
I
twice.
believe that. Yeah, I'm sure about that too. I'm totally for that as well. I think everyone should have the. I mean, it's in the Constitution, so it's kind of weird that
Exactly.
depending on what state you live in, it kind of seems like
Or the county.
or the county, they'll be like, okay, that's cool here, but no, if you're here, you can't do that, or you
Yeah,
can't own
because
this gun, or you can't own that gun. If you buy this, you got to do this and this, and it's like, man, you're making it impossible for me to like do this.
here's the funny thing. So in New York, right? If I want to own the rifle, it's easier for me to own a rifle than to get my hand or a pistol. So a handgun is harder to get your license. But if I get a shotgun or A12, they're like, all right, cool, here. So if somebody was to cross my house, I hit him with a shotgun, nothing's gonna happen to me. But if he comes in and I had a handgun, I could leave him a little hole like that, right? But if I have a shotgun, I leave a hole this big in the guy. I could shoot off a limb. I could shoot off a fucking limb, bro. And so they rather you shoot somebody's limb than just, injure them and, which is insane when you really think about all this stuff, man. I don't know how the gun laws are in LA and stuff when it comes down to like rifles and handguns, but over here that's how it goes. Like, and we're always ass backwards. I'm like, so something that's deadlier is easier to get than something that's not.
Hmm. And like, I mean, I think like last year, or even like the year before that, like in California, like gun sales were like off the roof. Like even people that used to be like anti-gun were just like, "Yo, I need to get one now." Like it just, even if they weren't saying it, like they were just like, "Man, I see what's happening out in the streets right now, and I'm just gonna try to keep my bases at least in the house, keep my family safe and all that." So like, gun shops were like running out of uh, items to sell. Even ammo was like, it was hard to get ammo at times. Um, a bunch of women, like a lot of women, for the first time became gun owners in California, and that's cool to see, But it just kind of sucks that how it happened, or what all the things that had to happen for people to finally realize,
Like this is
like, oh
real. Like
shit, yeah, this is real. This is why this is here. This is why we have a Second Amendment.
it's ridiculous. It took some wild shit to happen for people to be like, oh no, I need a gun now. So all of a sudden you went from anti-gun to like, oh no, we need guns. We need guns too. Like, I need to go get a gun right now. I need to get ammo. I need to go to the range. All of a sudden, from one day to the other, and then come back to somewhat of normal life. And it's like, oh no, guns are bad. I'm like, make up your fucking mind. Make up your fucking mind. You have the shit at home. I know you're more than happy to fucking pull that shit out if you have to, but Oh man, the times we live in. But yo, that documentary I have is ridiculous, bro. And it's crazy that that shit is happening here in our states. And that's literally what we hear when you like go on other media. They talk about how in Mexico they're cultivating all these fields and the mountains, but this shit is happening in our soil to our citizens in their land, not
Yeah,
like not national land. I'm pretty sure they're cultivating in national parks, and we just haven't hit it yet. But I'm pretty sure they're out there.
I'm sure that I have a feeling that they're just anywhere they can set up shop. There's a military base out there where we were doing the documentary. I forget what it's called, but there's some like an Air Force base or something.
What?
And that Air Force base is surrounded by that stuff. So like they don't give a shit, man. The cartel, they just like it's for them.
Another
It's
day.
become so easy. It's just another day. It's a misdemeanor, whatever. You're gonna come back here out here tomorrow, go back to work. Um, they make like depending on how big the operation is, they can make like 500,000 to 1 million in one harvest. Um, so they got this whole thing figured out. Not just from the growing, but from like stealing the water, um, having certain people in their pocket. Like they're so far ahead, uh, so that they can get away with this shit. Um, I've heard of people, that have known about some of this stuff for a long time, saying like these guys know our laws better than we do. So they have to, because they got to find any single loophole they can get so that they can keep making money. And if there was in that documentary, I'm sure you shot that there was I think it was the first week out there, there was like a smaller marijuana grow that was out there that it was raided before. So all the plywood was knocked over. They took all the plants. Uh, and in like 2 weeks, it was back up and running. The same spot, like everything. It's just kind of like they went on vacation or something and they came back and started working again.
That's insane. And it took a lot of money, a lot of tax dollars to take that stake down for them to be like, all right, cool, we back. We back working. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I want to come do this again. And it's crazy. It's just insane because this is our tax money who's helping in these raids, man. And it could be going to all these other things. All they have to do is strengthen, make the law a little bit stricter, you know what I mean? So they
Yeah,
could be a little
definitely.
bit more like, all right, let me not do this shit. Like they wildin'. And I'm pretty sure they have like lawyers and shit that they have in the US that they're paying out of pocket. It's like, yo, read this law. Let me know what I can do and can't do over here. All right, this is the politician that's gonna be here. How much indirectly there's corruption going on in the US right now with all this with all these fields and the cartel. I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be the first time, it's not gonna be the last time. Because look at how polluted the government is in Mexico right now.
Exactly. And that's what's going to happen here if people don't start to like it's just kind of like put two and two together. I
Yeah.
California's weed culture, it's part of the culture here in California, weed just in general. And people think that anyone growing illegally is just like a hippie or like Cheech and Chong or some shit like that out there. But it's like, no, man, that's not what it is. Like it's literally like Sinaloa or Cartel del Golfo or whatever cartel is like, no, man, it's these guys. It's literally these guys, and they're like an hour outside of LA doing this stuff. And people, for the long time, I also used to hear like, "Oh man, that's never going to happen here." But that's never going to happen in the U.S. But it's just a matter. I mean, I think so much of this, like these criminal organizations, they know it's not like I think they also use time as part of their like toolkit, where you're like, you know what, it's just going to be a matter of time. Like you said, until a super politician or a certain politician comes in that's pretty lenient or just aligns more this way with just it just so happens to line up, work out in our favor. I think for them it's also like a time thing where like eventually if it's not going to happen now or 5 years, eventually And because we have all the money we need, someone's gonna come in and they're just gonna make our job easier.
Damn right, bro. And yo, it is insane when you really think about it, right? And then you also talk about how these people are heavily armed and shit. They outdo the sheriff in the counties and shit sometimes. So the sheriff don't even want to mess with them because backup is like an hour away from them.
Exactly. Yeah, the sheriffs are just they literally tell the people out there like, hey, if you see these guys, because one of the biggest complaints was that the cartel, because they steal the water,
Mm-hmm.
there's no running water in those areas. You have to go buy your water, haul your water, you drill your own water well. Cartel will trespass onto people's property and they siphon the water out. And the sheriff tells them like, if you see these guys, just don't engage.
Yo, that's just ridiculous, bro. When you're really just thinking about that, like you're paying property taxes and you can't do anything and nobody can help you and shit. And knowing that if you go and be like, yo, my man, what the fuck you doing? That could be your last word.
Yeah, yeah, that can happen. It's the whole like the marijuana thing is crazy too because we learned that a lot of the people that come up from the border that were crossing in Texas and just
Mm-hmm.
along the border in general, some people can afford to pay that fine to get crossed over. You know, depending on what country you're from, it fluctuates. And if you don't have the money, or you don't, or you have like half of it or something, uh, it's like you're giving credit. So as soon as they cross you over, you're like, okay, well now you need to work off these $5,000. So we learned that a lot of people were getting sent to California to work on those marijuana farms. A lot of the migrants from, again, mainly from Central America, they end up at these farms and just working up to 16 hours a day in the desert, just growing weed, processing weed, packaging it. Um, and it's not just adults either; it's kids, like
Wow.
kids with no parents. You know, we were walking around some of these areas that had been raided, and the cartel they build these shacks. Like I'm not, they look like the shacks were like the homeless encampments, like an 8x8, 8x10, and they'll put like 5 people in there, or they'll get like an RV and stick 20 people in an RV.
Damn.
Um, that's their life. You know, you work, you're known from working, you go get the fuck back in your shit. You can't go to Walmart, you can't go up the street, you can't go for a jog. It's just sleep, work until your debt is paid off.
Damn. Do people actually pay the debt off or they just end up in a cycle and shit?
I think some people get are like forced to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, like if you're told you owe this amount, but then they're like you're working out there and they're feeding you and they're giving you somewhere to stay. I'm pretty sure like some cartels will be like, oh well, we need to like factor this in as well.
Damn.
So you know, it's like or they're gonna charge you interest or whatever. So like, but the average time we heard was like 6 months up to a year, just like hard labor out in the desert. And in these areas of California, it's like 100 degrees, like high 90s usually. But if you're working inside a greenhouse, it can get like up to 120 with all the humidity, um, all that stuff, and you're just like hauling plants, you know, like digging holes, doing whatever the fuck they want you to do. It's just, you know, there's no way out of it. You just got to do what they tell you to do. Um, and they have guards at the grow operation, so like you're being watched at all times. You know, there's people that have tried to escape. I think there was this guy from Guatemala who tried to escape, and they caught him and they just shot him and they left him out in the desert.
Damn, bro. The other shit that hit hard is you said they take kids and shit, bro. Like you fucking with kids' lives. Like you ain't even giving them a chance. You're like, all right, bro, we fucking taking your ass. Come, you're gonna come work.
Yeah, there's a guy who I forget his name. This white guy who lives out there, um, who was like showing us around, you know, where he lives and like how he's like seeing it all play out also. And he told us that he's like one day there was just like a group of kids just walking down the road, and they escaped one of the marijuana operations. And he said like they were Central American, but they don't speak Spanish. They spoke like some indigenous dialect. So like he couldn't really speak with them too much.
Mm-hmm.
But he said, yeah, there was just like 8-year-old kids, 12-year-old kids, just like walking down the road, and like they were literally they were slaves, just like made to like grow weed, process it, whatever they wanted them to do. Um, we even learned that kids were being and women were being trafficked at these marijuana grows. It's a whole lot of shit, man. It's just like, yeah, like in most cases, if you're an adult male, you're gonna be sent to do some kind of labor. But if you're a girl or like a young girl, you know what I mean? Like they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna put you in the sex trade. They're gonna sell you to someone. There was a bunch of kids that were told, you can look it up too. You can Google and see like how far like this is. It's been happening for a long time, where like kids will get sent to like the Midwest, and they're told, oh yeah, you're gonna come here, you're gonna get a good job, you're gonna go to school. All these like lies that they tell them, but they're
Mm-hmm.
made to work at poultry farms, and they live at the
What?
poultry farm. And yeah, it's just not just weed. It's just like uh, at the poultry farms or like a dairy farm or something like that.
Damn, so we're
And
eating child labor to this day and shit and not knowing.
a lot of people don't know, man. I don't know, or I think a lot of people don't know, and I think it's either hard for people to accept that, or just um
Just because it's
or they're
happening
just
to my back
clueless.
door.
Yeah, because you just go to the grocery store and you see like a gallon of milk, and that those things don't come to mind. Where like a kid was like milking a cow, or like growing corn or whatever it is, that they're made to do. For us, it's just like go to 7-Eleven, go to Target, you get your groceries, you go back home, you feed your family's taken care of. These other things don't. Again, like I think a lot of people are just clueless as to what's happening on American soil.
No, that's sickening, B. Like that right there just hits different. It just puts a bad taste in your mouth that all this is happening under the government's nose. And they know, government has, I'm pretty sure they know they have all this shit happening right on our backyard, and they're not doing anything about it and shit. They're not making laws stricter. They're not putting their foot down and shit. They just letting it go by and shit. Why? Because they want to appeal to the public. They want to appeal to the citizens shit, to the citizens, just to be liked and shit and to get reelected and to continue making money and profit. You know what I mean? That at the end of the day, that's what it is and stuff. And this, I'm pretty sure these big corporations who are running the farms and running whatever industry that makes food, they look the other way.
Oh, absolutely. For them, it's just like they're making all the money in the world. So like even if like say someone exposes something crazy where they have like 1,000 kids working at a factory here in like say Arkansas or something, that corporation can just pay that fine. They're like probably no one will go to jail, or like something serious will happen. For them, it's just like, okay, shit, the jig is up, pay the fine, whatever it is, close the factory down, but keep your mouth shut on the other factories that we have,
Or
kind of like this.
and on top of that, that fine
And
they pay,
it sucks because
at the end of the day probably be a tax exemption in some type of form and show they'll get reimbursed. Because there's always a loophole. You ever notice these things? There's always a loophole on how to get your money back at the end of the day. Or they'll give a charitable donation to some type of group and stuff, and that fine just washes itself out.
it's sad because like a huge inspiration for me is Cesar Chavez. And like when you read about his struggle, the things he was experiencing, in the like the 1930s, 40s, when he helped start the farmers unions and all that, he was he was fighting a lot of this back then, saying that people are being abused. We have kids out here working, whole families out there working together, like we're not getting compensated as we should. um these he was like, even in his own words, he would call out corporations that were are still around to this day, that just take advantage of people. And you would think that since it's most like predominantly like a Latino issue, where Latinos are being the ones that like are made to suffer in this way, that there would be much like an uproar about this. It's like 2021. You and I are connected like 3,000 miles away from each other. But like, the people that are going through this stuff to this day, like it's like no one really does much about it. There's like there'll be some things on social media where, people will make a hashtag or whatever like that, but you don't really see people making like an effort to go out to these locations and like to do something about it, to bring actual awareness.
Nah, I completely agree. And I gotta, congratulate you for being up there and stuff and not just talking about it. Because most of us, what we just post up and repost everything that we see. You know what I mean? And then in our behalf, some of us like, oh, that, we did our part. You get me? And that's the part
Mm-hmm.
that I guess a lot of us fail at. It's not just the repost or, just telling your friend. I'm like, no, get out there. I'm like, if you get blocked or you get, censored and shit, at the end of the day, that means you're doing something. Don't just, put your neck out there. But if you see, you're getting blocked, you're getting censored, all these other things are happening to you, that means somebody's trying to shut your ass up. They don't want the truth exposed. And it's ridiculous that, that why do we have to bite our tongues too? You know what I mean? And then it'd be ourselves too, like be like, oh, that's bullshit. You know what I mean? We should let everybody in, but at the same time, you don't see the middle ground. Because either
Exactly.
you're here or you're here. You can't be in the middle.
Exactly. That's another thing that's like really shitty. Where like, as you said, there is no middle ground. People now feel as if you're not on my side, that means you're on the other side, the side that I'm opposed to. And it's gotten so bad, not just as a nation, or just Latinos in general, with like not just this issue, but with like all the protests and riots that happened and all that, and like all the street vendors that were being like harassed and assaulted and like that were killed. It's like there whatever has to be done, there people need to start meeting in the middle again. Because one thing that was really interesting when like and again, it's one of those things where like it sucks that this had to happen for people to kind of start talking to each other.
Mm-hmm.
But when all the violence on the street vendors started trending, you started to see Latinos that were like MAGA Latinos, like Trump Latinos, and Latinos that are super lefty and progressive. They kind of started to like say, wait a minute, we're on the same page on this thing. Like you started seeing people kind of talk to each other about how that was fucked up. The it wasn't really like about, oh well, he was here illegally or whatever. It was just like, no, that's like everyone on both sides. So like, these are hardworking people. They're out here working, so earning their dollars for the day. And I think that was one of those things where people kind of started to like, hopefully, I mean, we can start keep this like thing where people can talk more. But I just want Latinos, American Latinos, to start like just seeing what's happening. You know what I mean? Because I don't want us to come together just because street vendors are being attacked again. You know what I mean? Like I think that's I don't know, how can I put it? It's just like it just shouldn't get to that point where oh, someone died in my neighborhood. Now we can come together. Like I think that's like eventually, like if you keep coming together when people are just dying like that, like that eventually, it's just it can get too far gone at that point, in my opinion.
Yeah, I completely agree because then you're just gonna become immune. It's gonna
Yeah,
be another
exactly.
day. You got to take action and continue having action from that day on. It's just like the big protest when we had defund the police, the whole George Floyd thing. It died down, bro, and that was sticking in too because I would see people who were walking in the protest, right? And then you're over there, no justice, no peace. Rally ends, you're walking home. You see minorities coming down the block. What do? You have your sign that says, no justice, no peace. You're crossing the street because you fear what's coming towards you. But you was just parading down the street saying this. I'm like, what happened? And I looked at the person, I'm like, what the hell, what are you doing? Like you was just marching for this cause. And what you're doing right now is completely opposite what you was doing on the street, yelling and chanting.
Yeah.
I'm like, were you doing it for fucking likes? Because that's sickening too. That's a lot of people who were doing it for likes and just to say I was part of it.
Yeah, and a lot of people here in LA when all that was happening, like you saw people uh sharing about that. How like there was some girl, uh I guess someone was filming her, and she wanted a photo op, like showing
Mhm.
how like she was like helping up put up some plyboard or something on a building,
Yeah.
but like she just like wanted the picture taken, and as soon as they took the picture, she just left. You know, like, that's another thing that sucks. Like you will get a lot of people like that in any movement where someone just wants to be out there to get clout, to get those likes, to get those reshares, to get whatever, just so they can say I was there. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a fucking a Beatles concert or the Rolling Stones, where you get to say I was there. you know,
Like people really took that shit. Like I was like, that was sickening. And it was not just one person. It was multiple people I would see that. And it's like, yo, we're over here. Everybody's marching on some unity type of shit. And then once it ends, you're like, you're back on your fear shit. You're like, oh, I'm scared. I'm like, so why do that? I understand, but I'm like, I like literally saw you walking, not one block, not two blocks, a good distance. And then to do that shit, that was sickening, B. And it's like you said, there was a lot of people on social media just doing it for likes. I'm like, that's another sick shit. You know what I mean? And if nobody called that person out, what they would do, they would continue doing shit like that.
exactly. Yeah, they were just. I don't. Yeah, again, man. Like it's just like it's kind of it's scary where we kind of are right now in this point in time. Because you got to worry about who's in that movement. If it's like someone with a lot of influence, you got to be concerned whether they're going to use their influence to just grow their following or their influence, or people use their status, and then like they'll raise money, and then like all that fucking money goes missing for some reason. um we saw that with like BLM and all that, where like they were buying houses, like mansions, for like with that money they were raising.
Yeah.
And it it's kind of weird. Like you don't I feel like I that's why I try to like stay away from a lot of that stuff. Like for me, like I'm really pro Chicano. I'm like all about the culture. Like I like learning about the history and like learning about the struggle, just to see how not to make the same mistakes again. But as part of being part of like the Chicano, quote unquote movement, for me that's another thing, and I don't really want to get involved in that because there's a lot of grifters, again, just like frauds. um and it just kind of seems like nothing much gets done when you get a lot of people like that in the movement, where everyone's saying that like no justice, no peace, but then it's just like, well, why then no justice, no peace, but like you just robbed like 4 liquor stores that like you know what I mean? And like in a little
Bro,
liquor store, a liquor store that's been owned by like one family for like 5 generations. It's like that's not that's no justice, no peace for them as well now.
work. Because now they have a whole different idea of what the movement is. Because now you just gave them a whole different, like, they're looking at it on TV as like, I agree with you. Now you're over here fucking destroying my property and shit and vandalizing my business that I've had with my family. You know what I mean? Like I
Mm,
saved up my money and here I am. Now I'm fucked. Insurance
exactly.
ain't trying to pay you and shit because insurance is gonna be shady and stuff. There's gonna be like, well, there's a clause and so and so. And now you're like, what do I do now? I don't have money to reopen and shit, you're not like a big company like Walmart, Target, or Burger King, McDonald's that's able to do this stuff, and you're like stuck on a wall. But with that said, bro, I want to know what made you start all this. Like, what triggered?
The well, my beginning, like with photojournalism, was I just wanted to get out and document, the raza out here in Southern California. So I was going to like a lot of lowrider meets, because here like it's pretty big now. I think it's a lot bigger than when it was, even like 10 years ago. And it was just cool seeing like younger crowds come out and be part of the scene, seeing how
Yeah,
like the culture and the fashion and the art just kind of like keep going. You know what I mean? Like even if people don't have a lowrider or anything like that, it was just cool to see people get out there and like learn about the history of like what the lowrider means to Chicanos and Latinos and all that stuff. And then the year after that, 2020, yeah, that's when I got my press pass. And I started going to like the height of the pandemic. I was going to a lot of parties, a lot of backyard boogies. So, like, I was partying with a lot of cholos and stuff like that during the pandemic. Cause like I knew it was like, man, like if there's any group of people that are just gonna keep partying, it's probably gonna be these guys. So I wanted to see what that was like during the pandemic. And I mean, sure enough, there's this DJ out in San Diego. He goes by Sugar Bear. And he's like this older, big cholo guy. And he would go to Riverside, Orange County, LA. He would play around San Diego, outdoors, indoors. And he would bring in like hundreds of people when people were like didn't want to go out, they didn't want to like mingle, they didn't want to like they were just too afraid of catching COVID or whatever. But a lot of people would come out. Like a lot of people. I remember there's a parking lot. I think there's a Target out there, but it's this big shopping center with a huge parking lot where he sets up sometimes. And then one night there was like about 700 people out there, just dancing, partying.
just
And
having fun.
again, for me, that's the thing. Like it was like during the time when like local officials were saying, don't go out, social distance, uh, work remotely, whatever, people like the Mexican Americans were like, oh man, fuck that. I'm gonna go. I need to be outside, man. I need to do something. I can't just be locked in here in my room all day.
Yeah.
So like I did a lot of that. And then uh I met he's a good friend of mine now. He goes by Anthony Cavasa. On Instagram he goes by Informed with Anthony. And I met him at a protest in Beverly Hills called Walk Away. And it was a pretty big protest in LA where it was it was people that were like fed up with Democrat policies and just leftist everything pretty much.
Yeah.
So that was really interesting in itself because in my head I was like, it's going to be another protest, people with signs. But that was the people talk about diversity and inclusion all day now, but I don't think people have really experienced what that's like. I don't think people like know what that looks like. Um, so when I went to this protest, it was called Walk Away. It was predominantly Latinos,
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of Black people, a lot of Asians, a lot of LGBT people that were there, and they were in Beverly Hills. And I was standing there, man, and I was just again, I have to go back to the whole like people don't really know what diversity is because I was in this crowd and there was like trans people there, like the kind of LGBT people that people make fun of now for having like crazy curly hair and all that.
Yeah.
You know, typically, traditionally conservative people with suit and tie, um, like immigrants from other countries that were just, kind of fed up with what's happening. And I was just like, man, like this is amazing. Like I've never experienced anything like this in my life, but I couldn't handle it. Like it was just not that I disagree with it. What I mean is that it was just like, if you really want to see what that's like it's gonna be a shock. Because like it's like you look to your left, you're like standing next to like a male to female transgender, and then there's like a fucking cholo in front of you, and then there's like an Asian family behind you, and then they're all like together, and then it's just like all unified under this thing. And I was in my head, I was like, man, this is like visual overload for me. Like I can't really process this right now.
Yeah.
It was way too much.
It was wild. It's like, yo, I'm in the twilight right now. Like this is
No,
really
exactly,
happening
man.
right
I had
now.
to I stepped away for like an hour because I was just like, oh man, like this is like it's just a lot. I don't know how else to put it, but it was just a lot. Like
Now I
if
get you, bro. It's like you're like, yo,
people
this is
really
the
want to
cool
see
shot.
that, like I challenge them to go like find an event like that or something like that, and like just sit there, talk to people if you can or something. But you're gonna see that it's like your idea of diversity, inclusion, whatever is like, it's not really what you think, what you're told it is, or what you say it is. It's going to be challenging to your mind. At least it was for mine, because it's just like, man, this is literally everyone from people from every walk of life, every class, whatever country, continent, they're all there, and it's just like it was just a overload.
It's kind of like if you come to New York, right? And you get on the subway. Like
Yeah, I
anybody and
heard.
everybody gets on the train, and it's like, all right, cool, we all mingling and shit. I may not be talking and stuff. We come from every size, every color, every gender, every culture and shit, and we get on the train and keep it moving. So yeah, I kind of understand where you're coming from, because that shit happens out here every day. And then work. Let's not even talk about work. That's another spot right there. But it depends where you work at. You know what I mean? Like if you work in the fashion industry, you're gonna get hit with that. You're gonna get hit with every type of person in one retail store. You got me?
Yeah.
So yeah, so it's like it's overload. I get what you mean, but I like the first time you experience it, you're like, the fuck is going on right here? And then I'm here in the middle and shit, very outspoken and shit. And they fucking with me though. And they really don't give a fuck what I'm doing, as long as I do my job and shit. But in back of your head, you're still like, all right, so in my head, all this is going through, you know what I mean? Like you're processing it. So like 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later, after a while, it's like, oh, it's normal shit. However, then you go from that environment back to your original environment, and it's like you can't go back there, because I know that's exactly how I would feel if I was to go back into the retail world.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'll be able to adapt and shit, because I'm a lot more vulgar now. I'm a lot more outspoken and shit. I'm a lot more rough. I'm a lot more cold hearted and shit, due to the fact what I do. That they'd be like, "What the fuck is this motherfucker?" Like, like fuck you, B. I'm like, I ain't even do shit. I just looked at you. It's like, nah, fuck you. I'm like, damn. I'm like, sometimes I'll be walking, right? And people don't even confront me or ask me anything. It's like, and my boys be like, yo, bro, you look fucking rough. Like you look like like a fuck you person. Like you walk down and shit. And it's like, why the fuck am I ask you something? Like you unapproachable. But I'm like, how? I'm like, bro, it's like just the way you fucking look now. You look very unapproachable. But I'm like, well, you get to know me and you talk to me and shit, right? He's like, yeah, but it's not the same. It's like you and I talking right now, right? And you saw me yesterday how I interacted with Flo and stuff. And it was dope, you know what I mean? And that's just me, who I literally am. Once you get to know me, it's like, oh, he's mad laid back, he's mad kick. Like he don't really care about nothing. I'm like, yeah. It's like it's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's
man.
like, so that's why I enjoy this. And then so technically this whole tricked off because you went into Um, so COVID hit, you went to parties, you end up going to a protest, and then from there, I guess
Yeah,
that's
so
what
that's
triggered
where I met Anthony there, and then he and I would keep in touch here and there, and then shortly after that, the caravans started coming up again, like in a lot of numbers, and Anthony hits me up and he says, "Hey man, I'm gonna go to Texas. You want to go with me?" I'm like, "Fuck yeah, man, I'll go with you." Like, I want to see that. I want to see that with my own eyes. I want to we need to see that, because we're that was also a point in like my life where I was just like seeing how the media would spin things. You know what I mean? Like, you go to a protest, it's a completely different experience. You're gonna see things, hear things um, that aren't gonna be discussed on national television. Whether it's because CNN or NBC have advertisers that just don't want that on the same airtime or whatever or what.
Mhm.
But it's just different. You see how the media just fucks with things. So I saw that and I already had this idea, not the idea, but how like just how I grew up with what immigration and all that stuff was like. So like I was like, okay, this is gonna be an opportunity for me to see people, as soon as they cross the border, I want to talk to those people, because growing up, I would just talk to someone that had been here for a year or something, 2 years, and they already got a job. They got, they're renting an apartment with a bunch of other people or something like that. For me, it's just like, I want to see like the beginnings of them. Like, you just made it to American soil,
That
like,
first
how do you
step.
feel? Yeah, exactly. And it was a trip too, because we were on the river, where the coyote was crossing people on the raft. Like, that was a trip just visually. Like, I come from like an artist background. I used to do a lot of music. My photography used to be more like artsy and stuff like that. So I would look at these people get off the raft and just plant their hands on the soil, on American soil. And I was just like, whoa, man, like the way how they would just like grip the soil and stuff like that. And like how their feet would just like hit the dirt. It was just like, man, that's like you're an American now. Like, that's crazy. That's your first step. Like, off a raft, you get your backpack of clothes, whatever. And like your first step is, getting off a raft, and now you're in America. So like the stuff like that would trip me out. And it was like I said, I still try to get my head around a lot of the stuff I saw, because like most of it was rough, just seeing stuff like that. Um, everyone I talk to about my time there, I bring up this kid I met. He was one of the abandoned kids that we found. His name is Hector, and it had just rained in South Texas, so like they were all coming up to this park that's like right adjacent to the border,
Mhm.
and like a lot of it was flooded. So there's like huge puddles of water, and we found these kids at the park, and they were all just drenched, dirty, dirty. They looked like they crawled out of trash heaps or something like that, and like they're all exhausted, all like just they look like they ran a marathon. And this kid's on the floor with his hands over his head like that, just like sprawled out. And I start talking to him in Spanish, and I'm like, "How old are you?" And he's like, "I'm 8." And I'm like, "Are you alone? Where's your parents?" He was like, "I'm here alone." And I was like, "You don't know mom, no dad, no nothing?" He was just like, "No." And I was like, "Where are they?" And he starts to tell me a little bit of his story. He says, "When I was in Honduras, my aunt was the one taking care of me, but she wanted to start a new life and move to Spain. So she paid for me to be sent up here so that she can go start her new life in Spain."
Wow.
So as this kid's aunt just said, "I don't want to do this no more. I'm just going to pay this whatever the fuck they want. You're going to get to America. Your life's going to be better. I'm going to go to Spain, do whatever the fuck I want to do." And this kid's just like there with no one. I mean, he was with other kids, but they were all unaccompanied. But it's weird to hear that from a little kid. How he says like, "Man, I have no one. Like, I'm here. I got this little bag with my information in it. And another fucked up detail is that so there's like a bunch of people that come up to the border, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's been I don't know what the number is now, but I think it's like probably like 150, 160,000 unaccompanied minors. And a third of those kids are now unaccounted for. So like they're just lost, like no one knows where they went. They're lost in the system after
What?
they were taken in. Yeah, they're just missing. No one knows where they went. The border patrol takes them, and they put them, how the whole kids in cages thing.
Yeah.
So like they get taken to these facilities, but then like a third of those kids, man, which is like probably like if it's 150,000 kids, and that's
That's
50,000 kids that's
30,000.
just missing.
That's fucking insane, bro. That's disgusting.
So like that little boy, like for all I know, like he's who knows where the fuck he is. And I was like one of the last people to talk to him.
Yo, that shit hit hard, bro. Just to know that I got kids, bro. So just to know that my kid, if I was to have sent them up here and shit, and it's like to give that story to another person when they got to the States and shit, and they're just in limbo, like, yeah, his arm. It's like, yeah, don't worry. Once you get to the US, you live a better life and shit. And then she's like worrying about herself because she needs to go to Spain and make a new life. And that right there, it's just fucking cold, bro. It's like, I know that must fuck with your head, bro. I know that you see life in a whole different perspective. I'm pretty sure you see life like living here. And I always tell people is like an immigrant mindset is way stronger than an American mindset.
I feel that.
And I feel like sometimes we get lost and it's hard, you know what I mean? When you have your own kids and stuff to try to embrace that it's a harsh world for other people out there. And I understand that you don't have it as hard as them, but sometimes you need to understand that other people out there are here and they'll come for you, your job, your education, and they'll surpass you because they're coming from nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, man, I feel that entirely because like Tom said, like we're so spoiled here, man. Like I mean, pretty much it's like the one thing, like two, like I'm 35 now,
Yeah.
but my whole life, my whole youth, um, my parents like they put this into my head where they're like, "You're an American. You were born here. Like your wildest dream here in America can come true. Whatever it is, you just got to work for it, and it'll happen." Like I don't know if that's why I'm kind of fucked up in the head, because my crazy ideas and shit. But like the people, like you say, the people that come from nothing, they hear that in Guatemala, or like Oaxaca, whatever country they're coming from, where like there's like no chance of almost nothing. They're like, man, that's the land of dreams. I'm gonna get over there, no matter what, even if I have to risk my own life, and I'm just gonna build slowly but surely. Like that. That's I totally feel what you say about the whole immigrant mentality. Because for them, it's just like it's only winning from here. There is no like. For me, it's just like, oh, whatever. I'll take a day off. I'll do
Mm-hmm.
that next week. I'll worry about that next year when I have more resources. For them, it's just like no, every day, 12 hours a day. I'll work 16 hours a day. Whatever I had to do, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Because just like as I got older now, right? I'm 37 and looking life now, I'm like, I'm a fuck up compared to other people. Like I was born in this great country and shit, right? And I fucked up most of my life doing stupid shit where other people were in the background grinding, like you said, 12, 16-hour days and shit to make a better life. But we're spoiled, you know what I mean? Like everything's handed to us. And we don't understand this message until we get older. A lot of us don't understand that. And that's why sometimes immigrants would tell us like, oh, you're a lazy fucking American. Pinche americano, no sabes cómo es ganarse la vida. I'm like, I'm like, bro, I'm America. Like, I'm good. But as you get older, you realize, and you telling me the story right here is even of a more eye opener, right? Even though it's easier to get here, but the danger is even more crazy because now you're telling me a third of these kids go missing, and then there's a lot of kids migrating into the States. And it's sad, bro, because you never know this kid who's coming here and shit could be the next, great scientist, great something, you know what I mean? But they don't have a chance because they're in a damn cage. And there's another thing too, is like, how do we go about it? The same way, like you have to be in the middle. Like you gotta understand, like, yes, we taking the kids, right? Now we let them in. Now we gotta give them citizenship. And now they fall into the system. Now they end up in foster care, right? And foster care, bro, I grew up with homies who were in foster care, right? And I would go to their meetings and stuff. And I got to experience that. Why? Because I was close with my boy and he would go to foster care meetings and I would interact with them. And a lot of them were fucked in the head, bro. Because these parents would take the kids, right? And foster them for like a year or two for a check. And sometimes they'll let the kids know. It's like, you only here because I'm getting a check. The day you wild out and shit, I'll fucking kick you out this house and you go to another family. And that always stuck in my head as well. It's like, yo, like there's people who have a rougher life than I do. And this was when I was like junior high school. So that's what kind of like motivated me sometimes and shit. It's like, yo, there's always somebody out there who has life more fucked up than I am. Like I got my two parents and shit. I could actually be in a foster home. And I could be, I'm 15 right now, and I literally could have went through 6 families. And all of them would tell me the same thing, that you're just a fucking check. Literally that way. It's not no, oh, you just a check. No, you're just a fucking check. The day you act up, I'm sending you back. You're just a revolving door here. It's like if I don't get you, I get the other kid, and I'm still gonna get money. Why? Because the city provides me with this. You get food stamps, you get health care, and you get a check for taking care of the kid.
Yeah.
And it always it does affect you in some kind of way because it's like, yo, I would like to help them, right? Imagine you telling your moms or your pops like, yo, I go to my friend and we go to foster program and stuff. I'm like, you think we could take this kid in? And your parents is like, yo, I barely can maintain your ass. Like, you want me to bring another mouth into this house? And you're telling me all this? Like they're messed up. And you're like, but they need love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's hard to explain when you're not in the situation going to these group meetings and stuff. And all of them get the same talk. Oh, don't worry, you're gonna find the right family. We just haven't been able, you just work through it. You know what I mean? Try to communicate with the family you're currently with. But they're just telling you're a fucking check, and they're telling the counselor, like, yo, this is what they're telling me. And you're over here telling them to try to go figure a middle ground with them.
Yeah, exactly, man. It's a lot of messages. So when I was doing that stuff at the border, um that was under the first account I had. And
Yeah.
that account, um I mean, it wasn't the largest following, but it had like 7,400 followers. Like that was the most I've ever had. And a lot of it came because I was doing that stuff on the border, and it got deleted. Just I had some other guy I know in Texas shared something about that was happening at the border, and I shared his post on my story. I went to the pharmacy, got my medicine. When as soon as I came out, my account was just it was gone. So that's why I have this one. But on that account, while I was in Texas, I would have so many messages. I can't keep up with messages, so I just don't even like I don't even answer them. But I was here and there, I would just look to see what people were asking, and I would have I don't even know how many, man, but there was a lot of people just asking me like, "Hey, man, how do we adopt these kids? Like, how?" And I was just like, "I don't think you can, man. Like, I think just the circumstances of this. Someone told me that those kids cannot be adopted. It doesn't matter or if they're unaccompanied or something. I guess just the circumstances of how they came in and whatever's happening in their country or something like that. That they don't meet that criteria, so that they can get adopted or put into a foster care system. So I don't even think there's enough people in America that could take in all, because they're still coming in. There's a lot of kids every single day that come in unaccompanied. I don't think there's enough people in the States that can take in all these kids.
And we can't even
So
take care of our own. Sorry to cut you off.
no, it's okay. Yeah, man, we have a hard time already as it is. Just I don't have kids, but like I see my friends and my family that have kids, and I see like the struggle it is, to keep your kids fed and clothed and taking them to school, picking them up from school, taking them to the doctor. You know, that's a challenge every single day. So if you got 2 kids or 3 kids, and say you're an amazing, like an angelic person, and you want to adopt 2 kids, like they're again, I just don't think there's enough people that can take in the amount of kids that are coming in. And it sucks because we were learning that in these at the kids in the cages thing,
Hmm.
these they call them pods. They're like a cell, but they call them pods. And each of those pods is meant to accommodate like 30 to 40 kids at the most. And they were stuffing each pod with like 300 kids. So that's why you see a bunch of like kids just sleeping on top of other kids, like just all crammed up with like thermal blankets. And they got so bad in these facilities where like the older kids were abusing the smaller kids. Uh, Abuse was also coming from like people that were like working in the facilities. They were just like molesting these kids. Um, if you're like wanted to sponsor some of these kids, some people were able to. Um, but another shitty thing that I learned was that you don't even have to be. You can be undocumented and sponsor a kid. And there was people that were like traffickers getting access to these kids, taking them in, selling them off to other people. Like there was like a bunch of really dark shit happening with just the kids alone. And it just sucks, man, because like I hate making this a political issue, so I do my best not to, because for me it's not. For me, people are not politics. For me, it's just not. No, people are people, and people need help, and we should help them if we can help them. So like when people start doing the whole like, well, conservatives, help make this mess happen, and the Democrats, they turn a blind eye or whatever. For me, it's just like I'm not worried about that conversation, man. Like I'm just
These are human beings,
what
bro.
like what the fuck do we actually do? Like the action, like what action can we actually take, no matter what side you're on the fence, to like stop this shit? Because they're human beings. um, and I went a lot of the work I did. I was mostly working with conservative Latinos, just and other like media organizations.
Hmm.
Not because I'm conservative. I'm not conservative. Um, for me, it was just about like, okay, who's at the locations where things are happening. So like, and it just tended to be that conservative media was at these locations. And I remember we were at that part in Del Rio, and we were hanging out. You park up and you just wait if you're in the right area, because eventually people are just start coming over. And we had this 2 guys from Telemundo and this other group from the Washington Post, like found the location, and they were there waiting near us. And the people from Washington Post came up to us, and they were like, "So when do people start crossing?" And we looked at each other like, in my head, I was like, "Man, what the fuck? Like, I don't know. Like they're gonna come over when they fucking have to come over. Like you just gotta wait. Like there isn't like a schedule
Hmm.
on our end. You know what I mean? Where we like, it's just weird how like it's a shit show, man. Just like anywhere you look, you know, if it's like a media outlet, they think it's like with Washington Post, just to be specific, you know, they think it's just like, oh, there's a schedule, and you know, we're supposed to know when they come over. It's like, no, man, it doesn't work that way. Like I don't know who told you that. Um, and the part that I was working with conservatives a lot, so people started thinking I was conservative. But I, mean, I tell them like I'm not. I'm just like I just happen to be where the action is. So I got to see like conservative people kind of treat this issue, and it's really off-putting as well. Like for me, the left and the right are pretty off-putting. You know, when it comes to like certain issues, like with immigration, for example. And the thing that bothers me about the the conservative side is that some people that are, you know, very right will say send them all back. You know, it doesn't matter if they're a man, woman, or child or infant. I'm like, I'm not on board with that. You know what I mean? Like for me, like with what I told you about that 8-year-old kid, it's like if you find an abandoned kid in America, like I'm not thinking that. I'm not thinking about how the fuck I can send them back to like a country where he has no one. Like for me, like, and it might be like a controversial stance, like in conservative circles, but for me, it's just like I'm not gonna make a kid's life even more miserable. Like if this kid's here, then this kid's here, man. Like I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like I think now this kid like should probably stay here. Um, if it's like some guy that's like all like MS-13 tatted and all that, I'm like, okay, well maybe put this guy like in a different area, you know, let's see what he's about. But like as far as like saying how we should send kids back to like Venezuela or like shit like that, you know, I'm like, I'm not about to like do that or like sign up for that, anything like that. um, yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's gonna be a challenge because you said like a lot of people do get like these handouts, and it's true. Like, um, the where I found that kid, the 8-year-old kid, that's a town called La Jolla, and it's a part of McAllen, Texas. And we learned that families were being housed in motels and hotels. So like they would get processed, and then like they would just be put up in a hotel, and they were given an allowance. Um, I don't know how much, but they're giving money. And if I talked to a bunch of people that came over from a bunch of countries, and they would each say like, "Oh, like where are you going to?" Like I'm going to Miami, South Carolina, New York, LA. I'm going to Washington. They're going all over, man. It's not just like a few states. They're going to like all across the country, like where they know someone or like whoever they know is like expecting them over there. And when they get processed, um, there's this thing called Title 42 expulsion, where uh, they can be deported, kind of like with basically because of COVID. You know, so like if they had COVID or something like that, they could be taken back to Mexico or wherever the country they came in from.
Wow.
But that wasn't happening. So like I actually exchanged info with this girl from Venezuela, and last year she messaged me on Instagram, and I was just talking with her a little bit, and I was like, "So how long were you in the facility?" She was like, "I was there for like 2 months, and now I'm in Florida." And I was like, "Do they test you for the virus or anything like that?" And she was like, uh, "She told me, I can't remember what she told me on that, but we've been hearing that most of the time they don't get tested,
So it just
and then that they just come in and they don't get a COVID test or anything." Um, so I guess depending on who you ask, but then I asked her like, "Do you guys get vaccinated while you're in there?" And she's like, "We have the option to." So I was like, "Wait a minute."
huh?
Like in my head, I was like, "Why am I
getting forced. We're mandated.
getting pressured, yeah, and mandated to do this, but you come up here illegally and you're told if you want the vaccine or not. So like
That's
it's a
wild.
bunch of different. It's a bunch of different like like I said, anywhere you look or anywhere you like delve into this, there's just like some weird fuckery happening with it. Um,
Yeah, because our military got fucking mandated to all get vaccinated. If not, you're gonna get discharged or go inactive. I know people who actually got their dishonorable discharge and shit and got their papers because they didn't want to get vaccinated.
yeah, I
They
know people here in California that were like quitting their jobs, stuff like that, or moving out of state because you know they didn't want to deal with that. And it's like again, it's just weird. It's like in my head, like I'm not like I haven't taken the vaccine or anything like that. Like I just a lot of that shit's so suspicious to me. But I'm just like about choice. You know, if someone wants to get it, you know, that's their deal. I don't really give a shit about it.
agree
Um,
with you. I got it, bro.
it's
I had
just
to. I had to
uh
maintain.
yeah, see, I don't blame you, man. Uh it's just like for me, but it's just weird, like, you know, like if this is such a big deal that's affecting the entire planet, even animals and zoos are getting COVID and stuff like that. And that's just like then how come you could come in illegally and be given the option to get vaccinated or not? And
I
it's
know.
people that are coming up from third world countries that you know tend to be hit the hardest when it comes to COVID. It's like why do they get this free pass to like not get the vaccine?
They should be getting it due to the fact that, their medication or way of living is a little bit harsher than ours. So, you know what I mean? It's like the shot. Like a lot of people who came up here and, came here illegally back in the day, they have the mark.
Yeah,
All of them have the mark. That's how you know who came here legally and who, and not. You'd be like, oh, you show them their mark, that little big ass dot. So that is insane when you really think about how they have a choice, but we don't have a choice. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying, guys, like here
we're
we
just
are.
being held to a different standard in
Here
our
we
own
are at the
country.
border. Yeah, here we are at the border. And the illegal's gonna come in, has a choice or has a say. I'm not saying there's something bad, like I said, but I'm saying, you know, but it's just wild. Especially, I think the most I'd have learned out of this whole conversation with you, man, is the real eye opener. And it just bugs me out because it also triggered a memory from my childhood. That whole kid shit, bro. Now I'm always in back of my subconscious. Anytime I hear the name Hector, is gonna fuck with my head, bro. Cause I'm like, yo, whatever happened to Hector? And I'm pretty sure that shit triggers in your subconscious too.
Yeah, man, I think about that kid every day. I just like I was sitting next to him, you know, like on the wet grass, and I was just like, man, I can't believe like again, like I mean, like I don't come from a country like that where you know where people have to go through different ways of life and you know are subject to different laws and you know, whatever you know. But for me, it's just like, how can you send a child up like that? You know, like alone, like through all of Mexico, you know, south, north, you know, with a group of people he doesn't know. You know, like he told me nothing happened to him. I was like, I asked him like, did anyone hurt you or anything? He was like, no, nothing happened to me. And I was like, okay, that's good. But in my head, I was just like, man, like, what about these other kids, man? Like, did something happen to them? Like, they told something, you know, like they were gonna get killed if they talked or something like that. Um, it does fuck with me, man, because you know, like I remember being a kid and the worries I had as a kid were, you know, like, am I gonna get home in time to watch Dragon Ball Z, you know, and play Sega, shit like that, you know, like I didn't have these like things where like, oh man, I need to like hike 10 miles over this like through this fucking city, you know, where like people, you know, like probably get abducted, you know, I didn't have those things in the back of my head as a kid.
Yo, but still, bro, it's that part right there. I think the adults, as we're all adults, so we're a little bit more understanding that adult has more choice. You get me? and what are your
Mm.
options and stuff. And you know what you're doing when you're coming over and you're taking the journey. But to put all that pressure on a child, bro, and especially if you don't have family up here either, yo, that shit just hits different, bro. Like that story right there, bro, just fucking hit a different chord. And then just knowing that like 1/3 is gone. And what happens? Like what happens to all these kids? Like we're still all asking, like, and there's no type of documentation what's happening to these kids once they get to the camp. Because when the previous president was in office, there was so much information being distributed what's happening at these camps. We got a
Yeah,
new administration and all of a sudden it just went dead. You look up
yeah, just
articles, you look up for answers, and you can't find nothing. And if you
yeah,
find a little
yeah. That's the thing,
snippet,
man. Like I tell people about how Trump was handling this, and I tell them, man, you can hate him or love him. The thing is that this wasn't happening to the extent it's happening now. Well, when he was around. So like, I mean, like I have to tell some people, like, is this worth it or something? Like, um, I remember you mentioned Ted Cruz when you were on Flo's show, and I remember he went to those camps where the kids are last year, and he went in there and he was trying to, I guess, record what was happening, and this lady that worked at the facility just got all up in his grill, like blocking his camera, saying like, "You can't do that in here. You can't do that in here." Like these, she was saying like these kids, you know, they have rights and all that. But in my head, I was like, if they have rights and all that, and these are kids, and they're unaccompanied, then like, why aren't you like willing to? Where's the transparency then? You know, like why do we have to find out through other means that at 30 these kids go missing? You know, like why do you have people have to leak photos and audio and video? You know, when you're supposed to be the party of compassion, you know, being compassionate, being open to like, you know, open borders, you know, like why is it when now that you have this position, you're trying to just like keep people away from what's actually happening inside?
yo, that is sickening, B. And when's the last time you've been out on field or you haven't been back in a while?
I haven't been back in a minute. Right now the hot spot is Yuma, Arizona. Right now it's also kind of slowed down. I think just because of the winter. Uh, I think they're just waiting for it to get a little bit warmer so they can start sending people up again. Uh, but one of my friends that I was reporting with, he goes by Jorge Ventura. Um, he was in Yuma last year, and they were recording this guy, this coyote, bringing up. He was bringing up this one person, this old guy, up to the border, and he was just my other friend Justin, and they were recording him with their phones, just like this. They weren't even talking to them; they were just recording him. This guy bringing someone over, and this coyote just starts telling him like, "Where are you guys from?" in Spanish, you know, de donde son, like over and over again. And every time his voice kept getting louder. And then he says it one more time. He's like, "Where are you guys from?"
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, he starts to pull a gun from his
What?
waistband. Yeah, he pulled the gun on them. So then, like one of my other friends, he like stayed back, and he got recording of them like walking down there and like having that interaction. So then on his camera, you just see them like sprint back to the border wall. So it's the border is just it's fucked, man. It's like it's a like on top of just like having people coming over, you know, you get there's this other guy I met only one time. He goes by Bill Malugin. He was doing a news hit like with the border wall behind him,
Mm-hmm.
and they shot at the border wall while he was like doing a live. He was on live news. You could just hear the bullet ricochet off the metal. The cartels have been shooting at border patrol from the Mexican side. Um, it's it's a shit show, man. It's just like anything is happening over there.
Damn, that sounds, yo, it just sounds crazy. It just sounds insane, bro. And you and your crew be safe, bro, when you're out there. You know what I mean? Because y'all fucking have heart. That's all I gotta say. Y'all have a lot of heart to be doing this stuff. And I'm pretty sure that you've grown, you and everybody else who goes out there has grown as an individual. And I'm pretty sure you see, like I said before, you see a perspective of life completely different than I do or others do, you know what I mean, in the States. And you coming on the show today and sharing this, it was amazing, you know what I mean? It's sad and then amazing at the same time, but very important for a lot of people to hear that this is happening in our land, you know what I mean? To children. That's the biggest part out of this whole spiel we took right here, from everybody coming over, the way they get treated, how they can end up in being a slave, trafficking, working to pay off their debt, how you have cartels taking up residents, land, and their water to cultivate marijuana and then selling it, because I see a lot of them distributors are taking the product from here, from the west to the east.
Yeah, they said that a lot of it goes back east to your area because it sells for like 3 to 4 times more.
That is insane. So, and then the last one and the biggest impact that this whole immigration has is on the kids. And a third of them missing is a ridiculous number, guys. Like, this shit is insane. Just think about everybody. We all were kids. Just think about our biggest fucking fear, our biggest motivation at the time that we were 8 years old. Just think about Hector B. Think about the girl that he talked about, how she was over there for 2 months and she ended up in Florida. And not everybody has a fairy tale, because that's a fairy tale story right there. She ended up, 2 months, and she ended up with some family in Florida. What about everybody else?
Yeah, man, exactly. It's I just hope that more of stuff keeps surfacing and shit like that because it's in my lifetime. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I hope that we can the people, the citizens of America can like just do something, like make a just do something. I don't know what it's going to be, but so bringing enough attention, or just demanding that politicians and local law enforcement or something be held more accountable, because it's just people just aren't doing their jobs when it comes to this. On top of a bunch of other shit, you know what I mean? But when it comes to like kids coming up and they have no one and they're getting just like trafficked, and God knows what else happens to them afterwards. There's just like no one's saying anything.
Damn, bro. But with that said, bro, let everybody know you have a documentary, and where they could catch you, and if you want to shout out the rest of your team and stuff. And yo, follow the
Okay,
stories, guys.
but once again, I'm Eric Herrera. You guys can follow me at Duvalinpapi2.0. You've seen me out there, if you haven't, with Anthony Cavasa, James Clue, Julio Rosas, Jorge Aventura, Justin Pollock, and Juan, my boy Juan from Texas. Um, all work for different companies, but we all just kind of like grouped up together out there because, like, we kind of knew that we were getting into something not just dangerous, but just something that was going to be like kind of groundbreaking. And with the cartel documentary, it's called Cartelville USA, and you guys can go to carteldoc.com, and it's like $2.99 to watch it, but that $2.99 you get to watch it, forever. It's like you own it basically. It's just like a one-time thing. And again, Duvalinpapi2.0, and I'm not sure when I'm gonna be heading back to the border yet, but still trying to find stuff out here in California to see what I can cover.
Wow. And also with you saying you take a lot of photos, do you have photos of, your trips out there before we, end the show, like that you have in your archive and stuff, and maybe one day you'll show to the public and maybe make a gallery out of it?
Yeah. Some of my earlier posts on my page now, they have like there's a picture of Hector and some other stuff from when I was out there. I actually did an art show this past December in Orange County, Laguna Beach, where I showed some of that stuff from the border and from like the parties I was going to. I'm trying to work on a book also. That's going to take me a little longer time. I just want to make sure that I got the right photos and that they go together and whatnot, and find a publisher that can help me with it. But yeah, man, I'm gonna try to keep this going. I'm gonna try to share more as I can. And if it's not the border or cartel stuff, I'm gonna be out here in California just seeing what else pops up.
Damn, that sounds good, man. And thank you, bro. And all the best for you, bro, and your ventures and stuff. And yo, be safe out there. That's all I can say, bro. And you'll be in my prayers, B. I ain't gonna front on that. Like, thank you again for coming on today. And yeah, we'll keep in contact. If anything, let me know you got something coming up. I'm more than happy to, share it with everybody else on the media.
Thank you, man. You too. Keep safe out there. I know New York is wilding right now, just like it is in California, but the mandates and all that. So yeah, I just hope nothing but the best for both sides, and hopefully we can get a better sense of normalcy and get away from some of this bullshit and driving people crazy.
I'm sick and tired of this shit, bro. Sick and tired of this shit too. Yo, but with that said, guys, thank you for listening, and y'all take it easy.
Peace, brother. Take it easy.